This is the east coast of Guam via the University of Guam. There's our campus. It's grown over the years to what it is now, and it's going to continue to grow. They're actually expanding the university and creating a engineering school. So one of the things that is required for you to get your four-year degree, and this might be almost anywhere, is history. And it's funny because a lot of people always wonder what's the significance? Why do we need to know about history? And if you don't know already, let me just touch on it a little. The reason why you don't want to go through life without knowing history is you can make the mistake of repeating it, especially when it's bad. It's basically how we learn in general, right? There's two ways to learn things. One is through experience, and two is through other people's experience. Which way is better? Sometimes it's better to learn from other people's experiences, especially when it's negative. So, somebody already paid the price for that mistake. Why do you want to pay for it too? Every mistake has a price. Some bigger than others. And if you look in the history books, it's been written down for future generations to learn from. But it's up to you whether you're going to learn from it or not, depending on your capacity, right? And I want to bring this up because of current events right now. Okay, what do I mean by that? I mean, let's go back just a little bit. 9/11, war in Iraq, Afghanistan, now the war on ISIS, most recently the Philippines wanting to break ties with the U.S. And it just goes to show you that it's very easy for humans to fall into the same mistakes of the past. Case in point, World War I. It was supposed to be the last World War. What happened? World War II. United Nations was formed to kind of make sure that World War II doesn't happen again. Look at the loss of life. Not just the loss of life, and that should be enough, right? But it's also overall loss of time, period. Look at that generation right? They call it the greatest generation. Look at what they gave up, man. If you were the Germans, 1939 they started their campaign all the way to 1945. If you were a German soldier, that's a lot of fighting. Look how many years of your life you've known war. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people are very naive, ignorant about war. And I'm saying not everyone, obviously, because a lot of us have gone to war. Not me, but I'm saying a lot of the men and women in our generation have been to war, but it's so separated. The majority just lives life like, you know, there was no war. They live their day to day with no impact from the war, and it doesn't really matter to them. Unless all of a sudden they have a family member who's in the conflict who got hurt or injured or killed or MIA. Now they care. Otherwise, they couldn't give two craps about it. And that's very dangerous. Because if the majority has that mindset, then they're very quick to support war. It's very fast for them to say, hey, you know what? Bomb them. Attack them. And I believe that the new president of the Philippines is on that path. And most people in general, because everyone in the greatest generation, majority of them are gone. And so they're not there to be the wiser and say, hey, look, you don't want that. You don't want that. All we have left are the history books and the films. And a lot of times when you're watching those films and you're watching people die, it doesn't really hit you. But in your own mind, put your family in one of those tanks that are blowing up, in one of those planes that are going down. Put your son or daughter in that picture. Think about it. Is that the answer? And it's funny because a lot of the kids nowadays, they play video games and they, you know, it kind of, how do I say it? It kind of glorifies war and battle and conflict because they're not paying a price. You lose and you hit the reset button and, you know, you try again. And it's a game to them, so it's fun. But take that same game, right? And if you lose, that's it. You can't play again. More importantly, if your side loses, then you're subjected to your conqueror. Whatever they want to do, whatever government they want to form, you gotta abide by that. No matter what your culture says, no matter what your beliefs are, that's it. Us being American, we have been on the American side of things for the most of the history that we know. But what if you're not American? You're subjected to, kind of forced government, a forced democracy, and it doesn't really, it's not really sensitive to your beliefs or how you live your life. However, is it worth going to the other side and saying, look, we're tired of this, we want an all-out world war? Back to history. Learn the lessons that have been paid for. How many millions of lives over how many wars in our history? Civil War, right? Revolutionary War, Spanish-American War, Vietnam War, Korean War, World War I, World War II, Gulf War, 1 and 2, Afghanistan. Panama, Cambodia. I mean, the list goes on. And this is why history is so important. And it's not just war, it's not just conflict. There's so many other things you can learn from history that can apply it to your present so that you don't make the same mistake. But I'm talking about war right now because it seems like in current events right now, nobody is afraid of war anymore. And there's a lot of people who sit behind a desk or a console and are like, yeah, let's go, let's do it, without understanding the consequences, without fully realizing the price that would be paid. There's no war where everybody wins. And in most times, there's no real winner. There's casualties on both sides. Big time casualties. And, forget the hundreds or tens of thousands or millions who are going to die because of these conflicts. Put it down to one. Pick the person that's closest to you right now. And just put it in your head that you lost them due to war. What would happen? How would you feel? I'll tell you what would happen for me. If somebody I was close to died because of war, I would feel hatred towards the side that hit our enemies, whoever it is. It doesn't matter. And now my hatred would trickle down to everyone I knew. I would say, look, man, these guys are bad. And I would start just bad-mouthing them to the point where people might start believing me. And then it's contagious. Now everyone who I'm close to are going to start looking at these people, right or wrong, and say, you know what, no, they're bad, they're absolutely bad. Why? Because I heard it from so and so. And then they're gonna go to war, and it's just gonna never end on both sides. That's how it's gonna be, until one side loses enough where they're gonna be like, dude, we can't afford this anymore. We gotta have peace at all costs. And if that's putting our pride aside and saying, okay, you know what, we'll compromise now, we've lost enough, then you're going to reflect and say, what the hell? We should have done that in the first place. We would have still had our brother right here. We would have still had our sister, mom, daughter, because now no one's out of it, man. Men and women, they're going to be in the line somehow, some way. Was it worth it? Was it worth not compromising? Was it that bad? Guys, I don't know if 10 people are going to watch this or, a million people are going to watch this. But I'm hoping that you who watch it can make that determination for yourself. And everyone's going to have their opinion, their point of view. That's just mine. But like I said, I think for the most part, people are going to realize that what I'm saying has some truth to it. And all I'm saying is, weigh out the consequences. Weigh out the risk and reward. Weigh it out. And study your history. Now, am I saying that we should just have zero conflict and all the conflict's going to disappear if we all have this mentality? Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is, risk and reward. What are you willing to give up for your ideals? Who are you willing to put at risk? What price are you going to pay personally? That's what we got to look at. And I'm hoping and praying that every nation has someone who thinks like I do, which for the most part, absolutely. And I hope that mentality prevails over conflict. Because peace, man, was paid for at a super high price. It's absolutely not free. And the question that we all have to ask is, how many times do we have to pay for it? How many people have to die? How many generations have to go through war to say, you know what? Okay, it's bought and paid for. It's enough. Enough is enough. Man. It's a tough question. I don't have the answer, but hopefully that we have people on this planet who can make those determinations and the correct choices. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks again for watching, guys. I know it's kind of serious topic, but we had to touch on it. Anyway, please like, subscribe, and share. And if there's anything you guys want me to talk about or see or do here on this beautiful island of Guam, please let me know. Anyway, peace out.